Everybody, it's your boy Carlos here,
And Joseph,
and this is the
the
passenger
passenger
seat.
seat. Ba-da-ba-da.
Hey, fellow writers. So today we are going to talk about something that was very nostalgic to us in terms of video games. And unlike, retro video games where they're like before our times, this is our time. Like these came out when we were kids and they, I guess, like formed a lot of us our age right now.
Yep.
And we're talking about mainly PlayStation games. And that includes Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, and Jack and Daxter.
Yep. So we decided to go with I guess three really big titles for PlayStation or for Sony. Um, they all share a lot of similarities. Also because most of the people who worked on these games were from basically, or some of them, most of them were from the same game developing company, which was Insomniac, Naughty Dog, and
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch. That's what it is.
Hmm.
Which are these video game, companies that are really well known with Sony. They're really
Yeah,
they're really they're really big names in the
yeah.
video game industry with Sony. Okay, so let's just get right into it, man. And we're gonna start this off with my personal favorite, but the least, I guess, popular among the three. I'd say
That's hard to say too because they're all so popular.
they're yeah, exactly, they're popular, but out of the three, it's probably the least popular. Um, and that is Sly Cooper. Okay.
Like jazz theme.
Yeah. So, yeah, Sly Cooper started off in 2002. It's main character Sly. He is a raccoon who is also this sort of Robin Hood esque type of character who steals for the benefit of the least fortunate. I want to say.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And basically he has this family heirloom, which is the Thievius Raccoonus, which is a book with all these tips and stuff, pretty much secrets to how to go on being proficient as that Robin Hood esque type character. And
Yes.
basically the storyline of the first game is that a group of evil villains called, it's the Sinister Five. The I forget what the actual name. I think it's the Sinister Five. If not, I'll put the name up here somewhere. Um, but yeah, they basically kill his parents and they steal the Thievius Raccoonus. And in the first game, it's just basically trying to get the Thievius Raccoonus back.
Yes, and he's accompanied by two friends that he meets when he's an orphan, and that would be. God, I
Murray,
know it's a hippo and a turtle, but I don't remember their names.
Murray the hippo, and Bentley the turtle.
Yeah, which that those guys are pretty cool, but it was the second game where you really got to use them.
Yeah,
You didn't
yeah,
get to use them.
yeah. You're right. No, you're 100% right. As a matter of fact, I think the second installment of that game is the one that's more critically renowned.
Yeah, I actually ended up really liking the second one. The first, don't get me wrong, the first one's good because obviously everyone always starts out with the first one, and it's the one that really guaranteed you a second one because
Yep.
that's how good it was.
Hmm.
But yeah, I guess for me, Sly Cooper was it was a really good game. I didn't really play it as a kid though. I don't remember playing it as a kid. I think I played it when I got older.
Okay. Yeah, I remember playing Sly Cooper as a kid. Not as a like young. I was probably. I'm sorry. I said as a kid. I meant as a teen. As a teen, I played Sly Cooper, and I really enjoyed it. I I lovingly call it Assassin's Creeds for kids.
You know what though? It's crazy. You think they're the same creators, but they're not.
Yeah. No. Which begs the question: what came out first, Assassin's Creed or Sly? I think. Oh,
Sly Cooper definitely came out first. Assassin's Creed didn't come out until way later. It wasn't
2000.
early 2000s.
Are you sure? I think it was like 2005.
For the PlayStation 2?
No, you're right. I think it was PlayStation 3 the first. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I feel like Sly Cooper is Assassin's Creed's for kids.
Yeah, very similar antics, except no killing. But you do get to pickpocket and steal and sneak up on people, and it's very much that stealth game. You have to be very stealthy. You can't just go in there hands in.
Yeah. But all in all, Sly Cooper for me is, I don't know. It's really cool. The concept of the characters is for me one of the coolest. Uh, for me again, it's my favorite game out of the
Yeah,
three. And I love the concept of Sly Cooper so much. We had a couple. We had obviously the trilogy, followed by the fourth installment of the game that came out for PS3. Um, and sadly, there was a movie that was to be made of Sly Cooper, but I guess it got tossed in the bin.
yeah.
Mm. But
I remember seeing that trailer. I was really excited. Damn it.
I I think it had like the Sonic effect for me, where Sly just did not look like you'd expect him to look like, and I think it sort of threw it off for me. But all in all, I would have loved to see a movie.
Yeah, no, definitely. Actually, before we move on, I remember in Infamous 2, if you buy the DLC, you get to change Chris McGrath's weapon. Instead of his electric sword, he changed it into his staff, into his Sly Cooper staff.
Oh,
So
nice.
that was a really cool feature in that.
That is really cool. So yeah, let's move on to I think it's your personal favorite.
My personal favorite would have to be Jack and Daxter, and the reason I say this is because I was introduced to by it by my brother, and I was playing it when they were releasing like the second and third game. Like we were like already playing it, and it was the game I played as a child. More than Sly, not more than Sly Cooper, more than Ratchet and Clank. It was definitely Jack and Daxter. Really great game. Yeah, this game is basically centered around a main character named Jack. He sort of looks like an elf. His green hair. I think they're supposed to be elf-like creatures, and his friend, which his name is Daxter, was also an elf-like creature. But in the beginning of the story, which was in the first game, they have something called eco, which you have good and bad eco, and his friend fell into an eco pool and basically became this thing that was a hybrid between an otter and a weasel. So Jack has this little animal creature who always hangs around him, and in the first game, Jack doesn't speak, and Daxter basically does all the speaking for him. He just talks a lot and helps out, I guess, in some way. In the first game, he like helps out, but he really helps out more in the second and third game. So the point of the story is that he has to go and collect eco and these orbs to be able to fight the villain with the help of his friend, which is a professor, which is like a chemist type guy, to basically restore his friend. His first game storyline was very simple. He just wanted to restore his friend back to his elf-like appearance, and all changes due to the second and third game, different storylines there.
Yeah, huge differences in that storyline in the second and third installment. Well, for me, Jack and Daxter, I think I only played maybe like one or two titles at most. I don't even remember what it. I think maybe on PSP I probably played the titles. They were cool. I just never really got into them as much as I did with
Mm.
Sly or Ratchet and Clank.
I remember Jack and Daxter were one of those stories to really bring in the walking about and the taking the vehicles, taking different guns, taking like exploring into people's houses. That was very very open and world in that
Yeah,
aspect, and I love. There's this part where, and you have number two video game where they introduce where you can turn into basically this dark Jack, and then the third game you turn into like a light Jack, and you can mix both of them around. Um, but I think there was like a meter if you use too much darkness. I don't remember exactly. But I really love the games. I know there was a couple of the games. There was a trilogy, but then there's a couple games afterwards where it was like a hit or miss type game. They had a racing game, they had a pilot game, or
yeah,
whatever the case may be. But the trilogy is really what sold everybody. And I know they were in talks of not a movie like Sly Cooper, but they were in talks of making a fourth game. But unfortunately, from the concept art and the getting released on the internet, and the company not having enough time. The fans had a backlash of it looking too realistic, so the company just basically canceled it and went with The Last of Us. That's how The Last of Us got created. So that's pretty neat.
I
It's a
mean,
good game too.
yeah, no, the Last of Us is an amazing game, hands down. But all in all, the more realistic concept of Jack and Daxter really does sound appealing. And I think here's the thing. I think during the time the fans of the video game maybe were like in a different mindset, and now it's like I think it's one of those things that people will go like, damn, why was that never made? You know?
I I'm a very big I'm a person that I actually appreciate when you try to make something realistic.
Hmm.
Obviously, if it works, because I know people would go like, "Oh yeah, but what would happen if they grabbed Mario and made him realistic? Wouldn't you be annoyed?" And it's like, not really. I kind of like to see it. It's like
Yeah.
I always talk about with you that I would love to see the way a live like interpretation of Pokemon would be. Like very, very, very realistic. Like I love that stuff. So I don't know. That's I like
Right.
to see.
Which they did movie wise. And I think it turned out great. It would be cool to have, a lot of people have been saying this in the Pokemon community, having an open world RPG where it's really realistic like that.
Yeah, like
Um,
Skyrim.
yeah, it would be dope, but that's aside from the fact. Um, anyways, probably moving on to our last topic, and that's gonna be
Yes.
probably it's a obviously it's three, duh, but this is a strong second in the sense of Sly Cooper is a first, and Ratchet and Clank is like probably slightly, just very slightly on par with Sly Cooper for me.
I actually played my first Ratchet and Clank game on the PSP. That was the first one I played, and it was good. Like I remember, I played that game until I finished it. That was a good one. Ratchet and Clank was. I never played the first one, so I can't really.
Yes.
I never went back and played them.
So, Ratchet and Clank, the story basically revolves around the titular character Ratchet, and he encounters his soon-to-be partner in crime, quote unquote, Clank. And Clank is basically this defective robot that has a video clip of basically the antagonist in the story, which is Drek. And Drek is basically planning to take planets apart to build like a new planet because apparently his world is overpopulated. And yeah, they both set out on a mission to save all the planets.
Yeah, that's. I guess that's one way
Hmm.
to an easy way to shorten it down. But the thing with Ratchet and Clank is, unlike the other two, they have many, many, many games because it was
Oh
so successful. And every game, after every game was always a success.
yeah. I mean there were some pitfalls in Ratchet and Clank, but not too harsh to have them stop completely. They always rebounded back again. Now the PS5, one of its flagship games is the new Ratchet and Clank game. Was it Rift Between Worlds?
Time or something like that. Yeah.
It's something like that. Unfortunately, I haven't picked up the PS5 yet. I haven't been able to play it, even though I'd love to.
I was gonna say those graphics look
Uh,
amazing.
yeah, for sure. But the cool thing about the gameplay with Ratchet and Clank is that uh, later on in the installations, I believe in the second one, they made it more RPG esque.
Mm.
I'm using the end esque a lot, but whatever. They made it more like an RPG where you could customize Ratchet's armor
Mm.
or bodysuit or whatever you want to call it, and then you could upgrade the weapons so they can become like these insanely ludicrous
I
weapons
never.
that just do insane things, and kids love that. So it was a really cool thing to see. Personally, I remember playing Ratchet and Clank on PS2, and I remember specifically the first time I played Ratchet and Clank was on one of those. You remember the what's it called? Jump Jump Pack, Jam Pack. Do you remember those? It was one of those games for the PS2 which brought like
Oh, brought a
a
bunch of
dem
games.
yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
demo. It was like a demo of a bunch of
Hmm.
different games. So Ratchet and Clank was, I think it's Up Your Arsenal. was on that disc, and that's when I first got to play Ratchet and Clank, and I got really, really into it. So, it was a really great start or introduction to the series of Ratchet and Clank, and man, I just loved it. I loved the customization options, the ability to do all these things with the weapons, and just it was just overall
Yeah,
just a lot of fun.
and much as unlike its other games that we just talked about that are similar in concept, Ratchet and Clank from its success actually, unlike Jack and Daxter and Sly Cooper, it gained that fourth game and fifth game, sixth game, seventh game. It did gain that movie that came out in the movie theater, and it just it. I don't think Ratchet and Clank ever stopped. It just keeps going.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's one of those really big, because Sony necessarily I wouldn't say has a mascot. It has a collection of games that I feel like almost saying like Sony has a bunch of mascots. Like you think
Yeah.
Sony, you think Crash Bandicoot, you think Spyro, you think obviously these three games that we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about now. Sony has so much. They don't really center on like for example Nintendo has Mario or Xbox. I don't know. Xbox doesn't really have a.
It's Halo. It's Halo.
It's Halo. I was about to say Master Chief, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, if I was gonna narrow it down, I'd probably pick Crash Bandicoot. But since he was like out of the game for so long, I think that's sort of like changed now.
Gotcha. Yeah. Unfortunately, right, we can't keep delving into the topic just because then our videos would be super extensive. We'd love to talk more about obviously these games and I mean, we already talked about how they made us feel and how much we enjoyed playing them. Anything else would just probably be facts about the games.
Well, I mean, one of the biggest facts, because we do say that all of these three games are very similar and give you that same type of feel. Obviously, Sony knew this, so there is one game, and I believe it came out for the PlayStation 3, and it was all three of them together. But unfortunately, it did not do as well as them solo. So, but still, it was the same. It was pretty good, I guess. I never really played it, but I knew it existed.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I don't know. I feel like these, at least Ratchet and Clank, I feel like still has more room to continue. Um, and I'd love to see a revamp on Jack and Daxter, and obviously Sly Cooper. I'd love to see them bring that back or do something with them.
No, I agree, especially for like the newer generation who don't even know they exist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I think those are just intellectual properties that shouldn't be lost.
I agree.
All right, well, that's our time today. Hopefully, hopefully, y'all enjoyed this ride with us. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out. Comment down below what your favorite game of all three of them were.
Yeah, tell her who your favorite was. It's Jack and
Yeah.
Daxter.
Pff, yeah, right. It's probably Ratchet and Clank, but it's okay. I still hold Sly in high regards.
Oh, that's fair.
All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this ride with us today, and hopefully you'll join us next time here in
The
the
passenger
passenger
seat.
seat.
But yeah, he just has to go around the island and find um, enough eco to go to fight the bad guy, which I don't remember his name exactly. But the whole point of this. Oh, what?
I'm sorry. I was gonna say, give me a sec, because there's an airplane taking off. I think you can see it in the background. Haha.
Oh shit! You can. That's crazy.
That'll be a good little
Is
clip
it gonna
for.
go to the sky?
I don't think you'll be able to see it from
Oh,
here.
oh. Let's see it from there. Oh nope, I can't see it anymore.
It's gone. It's gone. I just didn't want the sound to like block out what you're saying. Sorry. Continue. Continue. We'll put that clip in the end just so I guess the writers can see the. I got a nice view of the airport from here.